Hello, my name's Stefan Senna, and this is my channel, The Coherence Path, All Roads Lead to You. And the title of this video is, should you start a YouTube channel? Or maybe, do you want to start a YouTube channel? And okay, so let's talk about the elephant in the room. There's a lot of YouTube channels out there that are entertaining, okay, and there's a lot that are informative. There's a lot that really help people, but there's also a lot of YouTube channels that are just garbage. They're really kind of a waste of our time, and that's okay. That's perfectly fine. There's things in, quote unquote, real life that are a waste of our time. Maybe like being stuck in traffic, or standing in line waiting to get into a movie when it's already started. That's kind of a waste of time. But you know what I mean. But when we think about things wasting our time, we know it's not something we want to partake in. And a lot of times, I think, as people that are considering doing a YouTube channel, we think, well, that's probably just a waste of my time, or perhaps, nobody's really cares, or it's a waste of other people's time. And I think what this feeling is about a couple things. It could be about our own self-doubt, or even lack of understanding of what we could possibly offer on a YouTube channel. And it could also be about just of our lack of coherence within ourselves regarding, what we should do with some of our time we might have handy. And so, because this channel, the Coherence Path, All Roads Leads to You, is mainly about consciousness and how we evolve, or can evolve, as beings in whatever life we're in at the present moment, then my video here today about whether we should have a YouTube channel or not is going to include discussion about being in coherence. And I think, to be frank, it's a journey that I'm still on, but it's a journey that I had to start when I was considering doing a YouTube channel, because I had to ask myself, is that really something I want to do? And if I do it, is there something that I can possibly offer people that might be of benefit, either for entertainment purposes, for maybe being a small light in the dark, or just being a little arrow that points a direction a different way, whether it's to something fun or something to think about. And when I considered the possibility of doing a YouTube channel, at first, I shot a few videos, posted them up, and then I got discouraged. I thought, oh, what the hell am I doing? I'm just an idiot. Nobody wants to hear me, and blah blah blah, all the negative stuff. Excuse me, let me get a drink of some fluid here. Throat's a little scratchy. I'm out here on the Clackamas River. It's beautiful out here. I've been fishing out here. I finally caught a fish last week. It's kind of a funny circumstance, because I had not tried a particular lure, and that was to put a heavy sinker on my line and then put a leader out about 3 feet and put some worms on it. So that's what I did. And I was, just pulling the line in because I thought, well, it's time to pull it in. I'll throw it out again. And I thought, geez, that sinker's kind of heavy. And so I'm just reeling in, pulling it in, you know, not even thinking, just thinking I'm pulling in the sinker and the lure and the line, and lo and behold, there's a fish on the line. And of course, it wasn't fighting at all. It was just like, whoa, you know, it probably bit the hook either before or after I started reeling it in. And, you know, it probably thought, what the heck's going on? I'm just going that way, I guess, because I was just reeling it in. Just like, you know, like you're done, you're just going to reel it in because you're finished. I was just reeling it in so I could cast it back out. And that fish, it was about, I don't know, it was about 13, 14 inches long. It didn't have a chance because I got big, strong arms and I was reeling it in. Now, I'm sure that fish could have whooped my butt. But anyway, there was a fish on the line, and then I thought, oh, I don't know if I've caught a fish like this before. And then I realized, oh yeah, I've caught fish like this. They just might have looked a different color in a different area, like a lake or something. But I had to Google it and find out what kind of fish it was, because I was expecting to catch some trout. And I've seen trout out here, so I know they're there. But anyway, it was called, the fish is what's called a mountain whitefish. I guess they're indigenous to all these rivers, and they're called the river tuna. I guess they're good eating if you have enough of them. But the fish I caught, it's, you know, it looked a little haggard. It beat itself against the rocks when I pulled it ashore, and I told it not to, but it just kept doing it. But I didn't want to lift it up and tear its mouth with the hook in it. So anyway, I got it calmed down and I put it on my stringer because it looked pretty bad off, and I thought, geez, you know, this thing might die, which I didn't want. But anyway, I threw it back in the river on my stringer, and it was upside down, but it was breathing. Then after about 20 minutes, it looked fine. It was like ready to go swimming again. So I released it and let it go. It's probably swimming around out here somewhere. If I catch it again, I'll say hi. But the last 5 or 8 minutes of what I just talked about, you know, my experience catching a fish, you know, it's no big deal. People do that all the time, and there's lots of fishing channels. But somebody that listens to this might have found it was interesting. And I think the point of making a YouTube channel is there's a couple, but one of the main ones is if you really want to do it. And two, that, you know, you're going to find an audience. You know, it may take a while, it may take a long while, or it might take just a day, you never know. But we humans are not that complicated. And there's, what, 8 billion of us, or almost 9 billion of us on the planet. And anyone with an internet connection and YouTube can watch these videos. So you never know, somebody on the other side of the planet might watch your video and find it interesting, or somebody working a job that bores them and they got nothing to do and they're watching your video. But the real question about whether we should do a YouTube video or not is whether it's something that we could feel coherent with. Now, there's a lot of incoherence within us at times, and when you're considering your own new YouTube channel, some of the voices of non-coherence might say, well, that's a waste of time, nobody wants to talk to you, you're nobody special, there's nothing you can offer, you don't have any talents, you don't have the patience to do it, you don't know anything about technology, you've never filmed a video before, you've never uploaded a video before, you've never modified a video before, and that's something I'm learning, and so on and so forth. So that's one voice, or many voices, I guess, of lack of coherence about the idea. Then some other voices might say, well, your family and friends, or your co-workers, or, you know, gosh, what are they going to think if they find out, and so on and so forth. Or, you know, your past, let's say your past, you're not really proud of it, or something you've done in your past isn't what you would have chosen again, and you're ashamed of it, and you don't want to you think, what right do I have to, go have a YouTube video about horses when maybe 20 years ago it was proved you didn't know anything about horses and you were fired from some job taking care of horses. Well, that was 10 years ago. You're a changed person. And the other thing is, your YouTube channel, you don't have to be, you could be whatever you want. You can be a professional talking about horses. You can talk about lizards. I don't care. You could talk about all sorts of things. The main thing is whether you are incoherent with who you are. You're coherent with just being okay with your own exploration of self. And I think that can take a while. For me, I can draw, paint, sculpt. I've been a carpenter for 25 years. I ran a restaurant, I was in sales, went to college, 2 different colleges, 3 different colleges, been a parent, still am a parent, done some travel, had near-death experiences. I'm a painter, sculpt, I write. There's all kinds of things that are offshoots of me as an individual. Now, do I want to have a YouTube channel talk about every single one of those things? I don't know. I have no idea. I'm waiting for people to listen to my channel and what I have to say, and hopes that they'll comment of things that they want me to talk about or things that they want me to demonstrate. I'm slowly starting to introduce my paintings and my near-death experience and what those paintings mean, my methods for doing that, and how being thoughtful and being kind and being loving to yourself, and for others can help bring some peace in your life. I like old cars. I have an old truck. Could talk about that. I could talk about a lot of different things, as we all could, because we all have relationships and jobs and things we're interested in and so forth. I think one of the great opportunities that YouTube offers is a platform by which we can communicate. To talk about how this reality unfolds. I think that's a good way to put it, unfolds. There's a influx, there's a input of all of our ideas and experiences and opinions and our actions and our thoughts and our feelings into this field of energy that we exist within, which is just consciousness. And along the way, our intentions kind of guide our path and attract to us things that kind of support our viewpoints. Not always, but they definitely there's a high probability that we will experience things that are in alignment with our beliefs and ideas. But at any rate, my point is that all these ideas and inputs of information is necessary and conducive to growth. The consciousness that we are and that all things are, one of its core aspects is that it is evolving. We can look at physical nature as a mirror and see that animals and plants have evolved over millions of years. And we could look at the human race and go, gosh, we haven't been evolving very quickly. There was a fish, I don't know if you saw it, I'm going to have to watch this at home. There was a fish, a big one, just jumped out of the water, because when it hit the water, it sounded pretty big. Hopefully I'll catch it here after this video's done. But, we can look at us as humans and wonder, gosh, are we even evolving? But we are. We're evolving. It's a slow process. People are much more open to what color of skin you have now than they were 50 years ago. And they were more open about it 50 years ago than they were 100 or 200 years before that. And I think that's kind of a good measure of consciousness, because people are so focused on the exterior representation of this consciousness that they don't focus on the interior aspects of it as much. We just don't. You know, it's easier to pay attention to, you know, a shiny new object, or what we like or don't like, color of cars or people or whatever, versus how we're feeling in the moment in respect to, you know, maybe the temperature of the room, or you know, whether we want to go to work or not. There's so many different things that can draw our attention externally versus internally, which we're used to just suppressing. I could see a fish down there in the water. But so that's just part of the experience of being human, and it is changing. It's getting better. There's a lot more tolerance now for certain things, and we'll get over that hump where our tolerance moves into enthusiasm and acceptance and care and love and admiration and protection of things, instead of, well, I'll just tolerate that because it's a law, you know. Well, why not honor it? You know, why not uphold it? Why not support it? Why not cherish it? Why not just feel blessed by its presence? That's a whole other level of consciousness, and we're getting there. But my point is that your own consciousness, each of our consciousness, is completely unique and different. And your life experiences, your past, your relationship with your family, friends, all that stuff is completely unique and different. Now, yes, we all have similarities. We have 2 arms, 2 legs, most of us, and we've gone to a high school, or we've had a job, we have parents, you know, or one parent or a guardian or whatever it is. There's similarities, yes, but there's nobody else exactly like me, and there's nobody else exactly like you. I think there was another fish. Just made a funny swish in the water. Well, maybe they're active today. I know that what are those, mayflies? Those bugs? They're starting to hatch because I caught one the other day. Crazy, scary looking bugs, but they have no teeth. Or, well, they don't have any way to bite you, which is good. Anyway, so if you want, or you've been thinking about starting a YouTube channel, I encourage you to do it. Now, from my own perspective, I would love to have, you know, great number of subscribers, and I could, you know, get feedback and do specific videos that people wanted me to do, and create a community of talking about, you know, unexplained events like near-death experiences, levitation, superhuman strength, all the other things, which I mostly discuss on my second channel, What Was Seen. But I talk about them on this channel too, because it's about consciousness, as the other one is. But, you know, I would love to have a great community, and so that's a kind of a carrot in front of me. I think, well, that would be wonderful. You know, I'd love to interview people and talk to them about their own life experiences. Even if you have your own YouTube channel, I'd love to interview a person and just discover the path they went through to get there. Because that's all consciousness. That's all about how a consciousness within an individual, you know, they worked through different layers of their own repression and apprehensions and enthusiasms and intrigue and interests to go along the journey of getting where they needed to go. And when we can see into the lives of people what they've done to do these things, it can kind of be a nice mirror at times, either parts of it or a whole, that help us on our own journey. Now, myself, I am doing this as I fish, pretty much. At first, I was just going out and shooting the videos and go home. But I thought, well, geez, you know, that's not very fun for me. I just go out and I shoot the video and I go home. Why not include this with something else that I want to do or have wanted to do and haven't been doing, and that's fishing. So I thought, well, I'll just come out here and go fishing. I'll shoot some videos. If I catch a fish, that's great. If I don't, Well, I've had a good time. It's a beautiful river out here. I've come out here a couple times with teenagers, and I'll probably come out here and have picnics and food and barbecues and other things to enjoy along the river because it's a nice place out here. And unexpected things happen, you know. I've seen some kingfisher birds. I had a couple rocks tumble down the hill at me in a couple of my videos. And yeah, there's just been some interesting, nice, positive, or interesting things that have happened. So there's benefits of having your own YouTube channel from many perspectives. That it challenges you. Like, I've never done public speaking. It doesn't bother me to speak in public. I don't think it's easy for me to speak on camera, so I would imagine it's easy for me to talk in front of people. I've done it a couple times, and there's just some part of me, I'm just wired in a way that I don't really care what people think. Because I know that I am not the answer to anybody. I just got to figure out my own stuff, and whatever I say is going to be taken the way that another person wants, even though I'm going to try to say it as politely and kindly as I can. I can't be responsible for what else somebody else might think or say. I just, you know, and that kind of helps me be, I guess, relaxed about talking in front of other people because I realize that, you know, I'm not responsible. But I didn't used to think that way. When I was younger, I thought, gosh, I am responsible for how those people are reacting, thinking, or feeling. And I took it a lot to heart, in which mostly I just went internal. I didn't talk much at all. So that's part of the process. Self-realization, actualization, self-examination. When you're doing your own YouTube channel, you start coming up against your own consciousness. You start coming up against any resistance within you, like, oh gosh, you know, I don't look this way, or I don't look that way, or I gotta, you know, lose some weight, or I gotta wear certain clothes, or, you know, cut my hair or whatever. But I would guess, and I could be pretty damn confident when I say this, that any viewer watching this right now, most likely 99.9% of you could care less about my hairstyle, what I'm wearing, what I weigh, how many wrinkles I got in my face, if I need to shave, if I'm pronouncing words properly, you know, any of that stuff. What you'll mostly care about is if I say something that is contrary to your beliefs. Like maybe when I was talking about near-death experiences, you think that's a bunch of hooey, you know, and that's perfectly fine. I don't have a problem with you thinking that way. That's your business. You know, the fact that there's over 5 million near-death experiences reported annually, just in the United States alone. Now, I could point to that and say, well, that's proof there's near-death experiences. Doctors and nurses have reported them, and it's all been studied and blah, 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 blah. But that doesn't matter to the person that thinks that's a bunch of hooey. So why would I try to prove it to them? It's what their belief is, and that's totally fine. Their life isn't going to change, I don't believe, to any degree, whether they believe in it or not. Heck, I've had more than one near-death experience, and it didn't really change my life. To be totally frank, it did more harm than good, because I spent so many years trying to figure out why the heck it happened. And, you know, if I was supposed to be doing something, like some life purpose, like, oh, I had that because I'm supposed to do this or that. And that was all just a bunch of hooey. Those experiences happened to get me sort of on track. I was off course. And that's what those experiences are. Same with if you have, you know, an intuitive insight, a lucid dream, vision, all these things within consciousness that happen to us or with us are basically, you know, they're little nudges to get us going along the road. And if you've been having a little nudge about YouTube, like, you know, I'm this way or I'm that way and I think I have an audience, then go for it. You know, there's, you know, who knows? Like, I could start a YouTube channel probably and just talk about old cars. I like old cars. Old cars are nice. I have an old 59 truck. My first vehicle was a 55 truck. I could talk about old cars all day long. Now, I don't necessarily want to do a YouTube channel about old cars, but I could have an audience probably just talking about that particular genre. I'm looking past the camera because there's 3 really cute ducks over there. They got out of the water and they're sitting sunbathing on a rock next to the water. They're so cute. And that's a gift, you know, coming out here, getting to see wildlife. But anyway, if you're having some thoughts about doing a YouTube channel, start with the coherence first. Stop, maybe take a step back from trying to figure out specifically what to do a YouTube channel for. Don't necessarily look at all the people doing YouTube channels and try to copy what somebody else is doing, or look at something that somebody else is doing and go, wow, you know, I would love to do that too, and I could do it in this little different way. And yeah, that sounds great to me. So that may be something where you just walk into the store of YouTube, you see somebody else doing exactly what your interests are. Well, then you just have to take the small steps to get your channel set up. And so I wanted to maintain this video talking specifically about personal coherence when considering a YouTube channel. And it's about, first, I think, us just letting go of things that we're resisting, being open to what could evolve within us, recognizing parts of us that are adequate, that are talented, that are informed, that are experienced, whatever aspects of ourselves that we can offer, parts of ourselves that we can uniquely demonstrate, communicate, or share ideas through that are uniquely our own. As an example, there's a wonderful artist. She has a young family, and she paints with her feet. And when I first saw her art, I thought, gosh, you know, how could she paint that with her feet? Because the lines are so, I mean, there are a lot of curved lines, and they're very well done, like well executed. You take a lot of concentration with a hand to really hold the brush steady to get these nice shapes. And she's doing it with her feet. And I thought, well, that makes sense. She's been using her feet since she was born. So she's just as skilled with her feet as I am with my hands, or more so. So that makes perfect sense. And she could have not, you know, she could have just been shy of doing a YouTube channel or Instagram or wherever I saw her. But no, she thought, well, you know, why not be a good example of just sharing my life with others? And that's what she does. And she sells her paintings, and she's got her youngster running around smiling and laughing. And it looks like she's having a grand old time. And that brings up a point, you know, having a grand old time. I don't think that part of coherence with a YouTube channel, being in coherence with yourself, if you look at it as a way to fill a gap within yourself or to make yourself feel better, I don't think that's going to work. I think that it's more important that you find out how to feel good about yourself first, how to be relaxed about yourself first. Nobody cares about our pimples or our wrinkles or our you know, wardrobe or the way we speak. Maybe I speak something different like that, or oh, I'm from Britain, you know. I'm giving this as my YouTube channel, you know, whatever. You know, people generally don't give a hoot. I don't think. I certainly don't give a hoot. No matter what YouTube channel I watch or documentary. Okay, here's an example. David Attenborough. Now that guy's got some voice, doesn't he? And he does all these narrations of these wildlife videos and the series Planet Earth and all the rest. Beautiful voice, right? Well, he recognized at some point that he had a good voice, and that's why he does what he does. But nobody cares whether he's losing hair, has a wrinkle, he's 5 pounds overweight, what he's wearing. Nobody cares. It's because he's sharing information that is bringing more information to a person's consciousness about something. I watched something with him about orangutans, or however he pronounced it the other day. It's not orangutan, it's iritan or something like that, the way the words, I guess, were originally meant to be spoken. But anyway, I watched that and I learned all kinds of things about those beautiful primates that I had no idea about. Like, here's the one example how consciousness is interesting and how it works. So adult male orangutans, they have these big folds of skin on their face, right? Do they all get them? I just assumed, yeah, all the males get them. Nope, I was wrong. So once a dominant male moves into a territory, it has large folds on its face, and by it being present in the territory, it prohibits the other males, the younger males and others, from hormonally developing and creating their own giant flaps on their face. I didn't know that. Like, how does it do that? Does it do it? How does it do it? Consciously, Its consciousness says, here I am. I'm the king of the hill. This is my territory. And all the other males' bodies totally stop growing in a specific way. Now that's pretty interesting. So anyway, if you've been thinking about doing your own YouTube channel, I highly encourage myself and you, if you're willing, to think about how it really fits into your life. Think about how you can fit into the community of sharing your life with others. If you, no matter what it is, everything that we think, oh, that's boring, it's very interesting to somebody else. You might be an accountant and think, gosh, accounting is the most boring thing. I know, because I do it and have done it for tens of years, and nobody wants to listen to my accounting channel. But maybe you have another passion like cooking. So you could cook meals and talk about accounting at the same time, or you can use the food to measure things out. And the list goes on and on. My brain has a habit of coming up with all kinds of silly ideas. But think of your own silly ideas. See what silly ideas come to you. See if it's something that feels right, that you feel coherent about. It feels like, this is going to feel good to do. And I don't care what anybody thinks, whether I have subscribers or not. I'm just going to do this for me and see what happens. And that's what I'm doing with this channel. If you want to subscribe, great. If you want to comment and tell me what you'd like me to talk about, great. Because it kind of feeds me, right? I'll probably think of stuff on my own, but I would actually rather talk about things that maybe people comment on that they want to investigate, as far as consciousness or something else. And it could be something completely unrelated. I don't care. Like, why are bananas yellow? I don't know. They start out green and they turn yellow. I have no idea. But that's me being silly. I think bananas are probably yellow because they're supposed to be. I don't think there's anything that can make them a different color. Unless they live in a swamp that has orange water. Maybe the bananas would be orange. But it's like the pink flamingos. I think they're pink because they eat some crustaceans or something that have a lot of red dye in them, or iron or something. I don't know. But anyway, yeah. So think about yourself. Think about YouTube. Think about what you'd want to present. Become coherent with it. Spend some time. Go for a drive. Spend some time alone. Go to library. Study. Research. Look into yourself and ask yourself, what really feels right? Maybe it's talking about baseball, or sharing historic events, or sewing, or skydiving. I don't know. There's just innumerable amount of things that only you know, because you're unique your life is unique, and yeah, just go from there. But take it from me, I'm over 60. I never thought I'd be standing in front of a camera talking to people. But I find it's actually interesting. It's an opportunity to share information. And by sharing it, it actually creates more questions within my own mind. You know, and that might happen for you. You might have a show on appliances for 2027. Who knows? And that prompts you to start investigating all the appliances that are coming out, you know, new ones that are just being developed. So just starting a little path of some sort, whatever it is. It evolves and changes, as this channel will, I'm sure. So thanks for stopping by. That's it for now. If you want to start a YouTube channel, think about it seriously. You can be part of a community that's really, you know, trying to give input to the larger community to help us all consciously grow. It doesn't always have to be about, like, how do I say? Serious things. You don't have to have a YouTube channel about serious things. Look at Mr. Beast. You know, that guy's just funny, isn't he? Humor goes a long way. And that's what we need, you know, a lot of in life is something that's going to make us laugh, because life has moments that don't. So, but anyway, enjoy your day. Thanks for stopping by. I'm going to see if I can at least say hello to that big fish that jumped there a while ago, and wish me luck. Thanks.